as you've just seen there in the intro scene, that is the power that you can have when you spawn trap in Shipment. In this video I will be covering how to spawn trap on Domination, Hardpoint, and kind of Kill Confirmed, as well as Team Deathmatch. I'm just going to throw a quick photo of my stats up on screen, just so you can see that what I'm saying can work, as you can see from my 1.73 KD and 160 kills highest. As you can see from the image up on screen, Shipment is a very small map. We all knew this. And it has 5 hardpoints, 1 in each corner, and 1 in the middle lane. We'll cover the middle lane first, just to get that one over and done with. It's where Adobe Audition doesn't want me to put out this video. Stop picking up my voice. The middle hardpoint is the initial hardpoint, and both teams spawn at the bottom left and the top right correspondingly, and their aim is to fight for the middle objective. This hardpoint specifically is one of the hardest to manipulate for its spawns, just because it's dead center of the map and doesn't limit any of the corner spawns. So for this one, it's just kind of a write-off. If you get lucky, you get lucky. Do keep in mind that this is how I spawn trap in Shipment, and not code diving, deep diving into how the map is supposed to be played. This is how I play the game, and it's how I do the spawn trapping. Now we're moving on to some of the hard points that are actually able to be spawn trapped on. We'll start off first with the top left one. There are a few rules that you need to consider that they do try to implement when playing hardpoint, these being your team are to spawn closer to the hardpoint than the enemy. And there's also a small detail of the timing on the hardpoint, which I'll get into in a bit. For this hardpoint, if your team holds the objective in the top left, the enemy will predominantly spawn in the bottom right or the bottom left, depending on where your team are positioned, which is a big factor. If all 6 of your teammates are on the objective, they will all spawn at the bottom right corner. However, if your team pushes up to the top right, they will start spawning in the bottom left corner. Then that rule that I was talking about earlier is when the hardpoint countdown is at 16 seconds, any enemy killed will spawn at the hardpoint, whereas your team will spawn at the next hardpoint. End up spawning at the hardpoint. Just a little note. Spawn manipulating in Shipment is very dependent upon your teammates, therefore meaning that if they overextend, chances are it won't be as easy to spawn trap. This is coming from someone who plays predominantly solo, or just casually with my friends, therefore meaning that when I do attempt to spawn trap, I have to understand how my team and the enemy is going to spawn. Don't think I need to dive into how the top right, and bottom left hardpoints work. It all follows the same script of the enemy will spawn at a diagonal unless your team overextends. I'm now going to talk about one of the easiest objectives to spawn trap on, which is Domination. So believe it or not, Domination is the easiest objective mode to spawn trap on, just because of the fact that the enemies will 99% of the time spawn at or close to their flag. If they are being dominated, it is a lot harder to manipulate their spawns due to them not having the anchor to be able to spawn on. It is a lot easier to spawn trap on Domination if there is only 2 flags held by your team. There's 2 flags held by the enemy, however, it still works on Shipment due to it being a small map, but it's easier if you have the 2 flags, just so that they don't either spawn in the middle container as frequently, or they spawn in your corners. The easiest way that I tend to spawn trap if I hold 2 flags is to not rush into their spawn, but rather hold specific angles on the map that lead me into their spawn locations. I'll show these on screen now. I won't do that actually because it will take way too much time editing. If I hold the C and the B flag, I will predominantly go to the bottom left, then look into A site, or in the container next to C site, I will put a little crosshair over just to show the angle that you can get. If you hold A and B site, it's the same thing, just on different sides, except there's not as dirty of an angle. Now I'm moving on to Team Deathmatch and Kill Confirmed. I'm just going to put them together, seeing as there's not really a main objective. It's Kill Confirmed is basically Team Deathmatch, but you have to scavenge their body. So there's not really a main objective game mode or game point for them to capture, which means that there won't be a predominant spawn point because there won't be an anchor, and it's genuinely just primarily how your team plays. If they're really pushy and aggressive, it's going to be a lot harder to be able to spawn manipulate on shipment than if they're laid back but not campy. There's not really much I can talk about when it comes to shipment on Team Deathmatch and Kill Confirm, just because of the fact that manipulating their spawns is dominantly how your team play. I can't really deep dive into that, unfortunately. But if you look at your minimap when you are playing, if you see your teammates clumped up in a corner, try and find their diagonal to that corner. So if they're in the top right, make haste to the bottom left. If they're in the top left, go to the bottom right, etc. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to end the video here. I will be making videos on how to spawn trap on Rust, Das House, and what's the other map called? Rust, Das House, and oh my god, Rust, Das House, and maybe Emergency or Stash House. That's the one, Stash House. I'll make spawn trapping videos on those maps as well, just because it's also super easy. I'm a very small map mosh pit type of guy, so I do understand how the spawns work on all those maps. So stay tuned for those. A like, a sub would be appreciated. This took me a couple days to make, so all your support would be greatly appreciated. Thank you guys. Goodbye.